When most of us think of virtual reality, we think of video games, right? Or maybe some cool entertainment experiences. But what if I told you that VR is becoming one of the most powerful tools in a modern science lab? That it's literally helping us see the invisible and understand our universe in a completely new way? Well, today, we're diving into how VR is absolutely revolutionizing research. Here's a problem scientists have always faced. Our senses are, well, pretty limited. How do you really wrap your head around the shape of a molecule that's a million times smaller than a single grain of sand? Or how do you even begin to comprehend the explosion of data from a particle collision that's over in a fraction of a second? I mean, these are the huge questions that have been pushing science forward for centuries. For decades, the best we could do was look at flat 2D models on a computer screen. But honestly, that's kind of like trying to understand a massive city just by looking at a paper map. Virtual reality flips that whole idea on its head. It lets researchers step inside their data to literally walk around in it and to experience it in 3 dimensions. So today, we are taking a virtual tour of some of the most advanced labs on the planet to see exactly how this is happening. We're going to shrink down to the size of a molecule, we'll scrub in for some virtual surgery, we'll try to navigate the data storms at CERN, and we'll even help design the next mission to Mars with NASA. All right, let's dive in. Our first stop is the microscopic world of biology and chemistry. Now, down at this scale, shape is everything. I mean, the way a protein folds or a drug molecule is shaped determines exactly what it does in the body. The big problem has always been, how do you truly understand a complex 3D object when all you can do is see it on a flat screen? And this slide just nails the difference. Over on the left, you've got your traditional 2D model. It's static, it's abstract. But on the right, whoa. This is the VR experience. Suddenly, that molecule isn't just a picture anymore. It's a 3D object that you can reach out and grab. You can twist it, you can turn it around, you can physically see how it might connect with another molecule. And that gives you this intuitive gut feeling for how it works that's just impossible on a flat screen. And let me be clear, this isn't science fiction. This is happening right now. Researchers are using incredibly powerful tools like these every day. Take Nanome, for example. Scientists from completely different parts of the world can meet up in a shared virtual lab, hold the same drug molecule in their hands, and work together in real time to design new medicines. These tools are truly changing the game for drug discovery. This quote from AIP Publishing just perfectly captures the magic of what's happening. VR is taking these complex, intangible mathematical forces that hold molecules together, and it's making them feel real. It's turning abstract equations into something you can almost touch and feel. Okay, from the world of the microscopic, let's jump into the incredibly high-stakes world of surgery. In this field, practice is absolutely everything, but you can't exactly practice on a live patient, right? This is where VR is providing a revolutionary solution. It's a way to rehearse the most complex procedures imaginable with absolutely zero risk. The official term is surgical simulation, and honestly, the best way to think about it is like a flight simulator for a pilot. It lets surgeons practice everything from basic stitches all the way to complex organ transplants in a completely safe virtual world. They can just repeat a tricky procedure dozens of times until it becomes pure muscle memory. And the results? They are absolutely staggering. A major study found that surgeons who trained in VR first made 71% fewer errors when they did their first real procedures. I mean, think about that. That's not a tiny improvement. It's a massive leap forward for patient safety, cutting down on mistakes in both precision and in critical split-second decisions. Now, of course, the technology isn't perfect yet. It still has its challenges. One of the biggest hurdles is haptic feedback. That's the ability to feel resistance and texture, which is, as you can imagine, crucial in surgery. And yeah, some people can still get a bit of motion sickness, but these are engineering problems, and believe me, people are working around the clock to solve them. All right, next we're going from the operating room to the home of the Large Hadron Collider, CERN. Now here, the problem isn't seeing something incredibly small. It's about trying to understand something so vast it's almost unimaginable. The sheer volume of data they create. Just let that sink in for a second. 1 billion with a B. Particle collisions every single second. Each one of those collisions creates a tidal wave of data. Trying to find one significant event in that digital ocean, that's like trying to find one specific grain of sand on every single beach in the entire world. So how in the world does VR help with this data tsunami? Well, for one, it gives physicists a real, visceral sense of the colossal scale of their detectors, like Atlas, which is as big as a 5-story building. But more importantly, it lets them step inside the data from the collisions to walk around in it and spot patterns that would be totally invisible on a 2D screen. It's also used for super practical stuff, like training engineers for maintenance in radioactive areas, and for public outreach, giving anyone a virtual tour of this amazing place. For our final stop, we're blasting off to NASA. Over here, VR isn't just about understanding our world, it's about planning our journey to brand new ones. Engineers are using it right now to design, build, and rehearse the next generation of space missions. And the way NASA uses VR is just so comprehensive. They can build and test a new rover in a virtual Martian environment before a single physical bolt is ever turned. They simulate spacewalks, or EVAs, to see exactly how astronauts will handle tasks in low gravity. And maybe the most powerful part? It lets teams from all over the world gather inside a virtual spacecraft and actually work on it together. And these are real, honest-to-goodness projects happening as we speak. Hera is a VR simulation of what it's actually like to live on Mars for a long time. Vector is that virtual meeting room where engineers collaborate. And Shire, how cool is this? They use VR to train geologists to explore the moon, using data from real-world lava flows in Hawaii as a model. So after this incredible tour, from inside a molecule to the surface of Mars, what's the big picture? What does this massive shift to immersive science really mean for the future of discovery itself? This quote really gets to the heart of a profound shift. For centuries, science was often the domain of people who think best in abstract equations and formulas. But VR opens the door for completely different kinds of intelligence. It makes science more accessible to people who are visual thinkers or spatial thinkers, potentially unlocking this huge new pool of talent and fresh perspectives. And that right there is the key takeaway. VR is so much more than a fancy new gadget for making pretty pictures. It's fundamentally changing our relationship with data. It's turning abstract numbers and symbols into living, breathing worlds that we can step into, explore, and understand on a deep gut level. And so, we are left with this one truly tantalizing question. Now that scientists can literally walk around inside a protein, or perform a risk-free virtual surgery, or stand in the heart of a particle collision, what will they discover next? When you give humanity a completely new way to see the universe, what new wonders are we going to find?